This kombucha tea is so bomb, you guys. First thing I'm going to be doing is applying primer. I'm going to be putting the Pore Professional primer. Apply it here next to my nose where these kind of smile lines form. And then I apply it to my chin. And then I apply it to my forehead. Then I rub it in. I don't apply it on my nose because I just find that it makes it too slippery to apply makeup on. And this really just evens out my texture and minimizes the appearance of pores. Today I'll be using Maybelline Fit Me. I highly recommend this for an affordable drugstore foundation. And this is the dewy and smooth one for normal to dry skin in the color 210 Sandy Beige. So I'm going to give this a shake. I'm going to take a damp beauty blender. It has to be damp. Now I'm just going to blend by pouncing on my face up and down in this sort of motion. I guess I might as well start my story time while I'm blending, because if not, then I'm probably going to get super distracted. So basically, the story time is about a conversation that I had with my housekeeper. Him and his wife run this cleaning company. Last month, he actually had texted me and told me that he wasn't gonna come for the cleaning, but his daughter was. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So the next time I ended up seeing him, I was just jokingly telling him how, you know, his daughter did a great job and how she looks so young. And he ends up telling me that she's 33 years old, which first off just shocked me. She has kids who are like 13 years old. So the more you blend, the better it's gonna turn out. I'm gonna be using the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser for dark circles. And this is in the color, if I can find it, Light. We're just going to twist it around and we're going to put it under the eye in this motion. And then I'm going to kind of make a triangle and fill it in. And we are going to swoop it down the nose, upper lip. I go around my nose as well because I tend to get some, I don't know, just bigger pores in that area. And then also in my chin, as you can see right now, I'm breaking out a little bit there. So the chin area, the lip area, the nose area, under the eyes in a triangle. Last but not least, kind of coming up the forehead in this kind of palm tree sort of shape. Blend it out. So back to the story. It turns out that he used to own a nightclub there and was very successful there. And then when he moved over here, he started this cleaning company with his wife. And not only that, but they also have some properties and they are renting those out for Airbnb. So just the more he's telling me, the more I'm amazed. And this whole story time, the lesson here is just that sometimes we don't know what we can learn from someone. And sometimes we place people in certain categories and we judge them subconsciously. Like, it might not even be that we do it on purpose, but we place them in a certain category and we think that we can't learn anything from them and that we can't, you know, have dialogues where we open up and learn from each other. But this was a perfect example of me talking to my housekeeper and just learning so much from him and gaining so much value from, you know, his knowledge and his life experiences. I know sometimes we think we need to get expert advice, and that's okay, right? If you're gonna buy a house, you should probably talk to a real estate agent. And if you're going to, you know, open an investment account, then you should probably talk to a financial advisor. But all I'm saying is you shouldn't discredit a homeless guy in the street. You shouldn't discredit someone just because, you know, their job might not be glamorous or they might not be wearing a Gucci, you know, sweatshirt and driving a Bentley. You can learn from so many people, and there are opportunities to learn and grow every day in everyday interactions. You might be passing a chance to learn something from someone. Every conversation is beneficial if it's constructive and if we are learning from one another and growing. To apply a little bit more concealer because I just feel like today I look like I'm half asleep. What had happened was after he had told me about, himself and his wife and their business, I asked him what his daughter does back in Poland. And I was amazed to find out that this young lady owns ice cream shops. Not one, not two, but 4. And this is her 4th year in the business. And so basically each year she's been in operation, she's expanded to a new store. And I just thought that that was so inspiring that, this young lady, not only does she have, 4 ice cream shops, but during her vacation when she's visiting her family, she's helping them with their business, and she's a mother, and just all these things were so inspiring to me. We both benefited from that conversation because I, as you guys know, started a business last year. He was able to give me advice for, some advertising methods he has done, which has worked for him because I know when he's here cleaning, he's getting calls and texts about, setting up appointments. And so I know he has lots of clientele, and it was great to get tips from him. And when he had told me about his daughter's ice cream business, I was telling him about how there's so many new dessert kind of options popping up around here. Boba, donuts with ice cream, and all these kind of new ideas that are coming about. And I was telling him, your daughter should totally bring boba to Poland or incorporate some of these things. And he was just so happy that I was sharing these ideas. And he was like, yeah, that's awesome. Send me the name of that. So that was all I had. Let's continue on with the makeup. So now I'm going to set my eyes. And I wasn't going to bake, but I think I'm going to. So I'm going to be using Maybelline Fit Me Fair Light Loose Finishing Powder. And I'm going to use the straight edge part to dip in there. I'm going to swipe it under. Same for this side. As you can see, I don't like using a bunch of powder to bake. And I do it mainly under my eyes and in the T-zone. So I'm going to carry it up right here, top it out. And now that I look like a clown, I'm going to keep this out because I'll be carving out my cheekbones after I contour. So now that that's going on, we can either do eyebrows or start contour. I'm going to start my eyebrows, and so I'm using Anastasia. This is the Brow Wiz in Ebony. So I get the spoolie. I comb them up and out, and I actually have stitches in my eyebrows, so I mainly do this to cover that and also thicken my eyebrows, because let's be real, your girl likes some thick eyebrows. So I start by kind of just drawing out a line. As you can see, I'm very sparse here in the front. So I'm basically going to draw a line outlining the bottom, draw a line outlining the top, and then I'm going to kind of fill it in as I go. That's what I do, and actually the funny thing is, I usually don't go back and clean it up with concealer. So if you guys do that, go ahead and do it. I usually don't. Now I'm going to wipe off the bake. I do so with this Bobbi Brown sheer powder brush, and it was in this travel sized makeup brush set that my beautiful, gorgeous cousin gifted to me. So we're just going to swipe off all the powder. This is actually one of my favorite steps. I use the Butter Bronzer Physician Formula. This is also drugstore. I'm actually going to be using a highlighting fan. This also comes with a brush, but I always like using my own. So I just swipe over that, and I'm gonna kind of do this kissy face and go up my cheekbones. So as you can see, it's very natural. You can actually barely see it, and I like that. So I'm gonna carry this up my temple and around my forehead. Just kind of start the contouring process. Just a little bit along our jawbone. Now we can start contouring. I'm gonna be using the contour brush in the Real Techniques brush set. I got this at Ulta. It does not disappoint. Like, these 4 brushes that honestly you can use, you could probably do your whole face just with those 4, and it was like 12 bucks, I think, so that's great. So I'm going to go in with my Anastasia contour kit, and I'm going to go in with this ashy brown tone right here. Blow it off, and then I'm going to start shaping this out in my cheekbones. And I'm going to carry it up. I'm going to get just a little more and carve out my jaw. I've been chiseling my nose just a little bit with this detailer brush from the same Real Techniques kit. So I'm going to go in with that same ashy brown color, and then I'm just going to draw a line. So I'm going to do this on both sides, and obviously I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but the less space you have between these lines, the more thin and snatched your nose is going to look. So I make this line, and then I make sure to attach it here in the bottom. Just be using this very thick, dense brush, or you can also use a mini kabuki. I'm gonna go in with this banana shade, and I'm just gonna go right in between where I made those lines. Also gonna go in with that banana color on my lips, a little bit on my chin, and carry it up my forehead. Okay, so now that we look crazy, we are going to blend everything out with our beauty blender. Now it's time for blush. I'm going to go in with NARS Orgasm. This is just such a staple item, and it's actually, fun fact, the only blush I own. I'm not a huge blush kind of girl, but I love this color. I'm going to go in with a MAC brush. This must be from like 1990s because it's 187 SE. I don't even know if they still have this, but just basically a kind of fluffy, not so dense brush that's good for cheeks. So I'm going to tap it on here, smile, and put it on the apples of my cheeks. Now I'm going to go in with some highlighter. I'm going to be using just a small fluffy brush. I'm going to get out my Anastasia Glow Kit. There's so many beautiful colors in here. Like, I actually, when I first saw these, I thought this would be the only one for my skin tone, but actually all the shades look beautiful. It is in the color Moonstone, so it's like a pink shimmer. So we're gonna grab some of that. And I carry it right here in this area. And then I bring it up my eyebrow up here. And same thing on this side. Then I do a little brush here, down my nose, at the ball of the nose, on my Cupid's bow. I'm going to be using Maybelline Fit Me again. Get a good amount and just kind of carve from like halfway above your cheek down to here on your lips. So perfect. Same here. In the meantime, I'm going to, oh, I forgot to set my eyebrows, so I'll do that right now with the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. So just going to comb up and out. A little bit of eyeliner, so I'm going to be going in with this eyeliner. I get it from the Middle East. It goes in the waterline. This one's just great because you close your eyes and you swipe it right through. I'm going to be using Maybelline Lash Sensational Luscious Full Fan Effect. So I kind of angle my face up and I'm going to curl them. So I twist the wand as I go up. I've actually never worn false lashes, so that's another fun fact. I prefer that fanned look. Another fun fact is I rarely wear mascara on my bottom lashes. I just think it's kind of weird and it usually just creases and creates lines that I don't want. We are going to once again use this Bobbi Brown sheer powder brush to wipe. Next, I'm going to do lips. I'm going to be using NYX. I'm going to be using NYX liner in Nude Truffle, and I'm going to be using NYX Butter Gloss in Praline. So I'm going to line my lips. I always start with the bottom. Sharpen my pencil. Much better. Let's try again. Yes, the door just shut by itself. It does that because the AC comes out right at the door and it pushes the door shut. It freaks me out sometimes. So once I've lined my whole lip and filled in the majority of my lip, I'm going to go in with the gloss, mainly in the center. This is like one of the most important steps. I use another brush. It's called Full Coverage Face from Bobbi Brown. It's also from that brush travel set, and I'm gonna buff my face. So I just go around in really tight circles. Now I'm gonna set my face with the Maybelline Master Fix Wear Boosting Setting Spray. This stuff works great. Close my eyes and spritz. I feel like I use mainly Maybelline products. They really need to sponsor me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you'd like to see more makeup looks, if you'd like to hear more story times, and if you'd like to see that skincare routine. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate every one of you. Love you.